Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. As promised in this video, I'm going to show you how to understand your customer. This is very deep work and it's a constantly evolving science. Okay, we haven't mastered communication. We haven't mastered our customers' understanding. If we did, we would have the best products and best service. We wouldn't have to create anything else. But in this case, we're trying to improve our business. So what I'll do is I'll show you tactics today, concrete things you guys can do in order to understand your customer. The first thing we need to understand are people's motivations. Firstly, it's either wealth, okay, fitness of their genes or health, some people call it, social hierarchy or social status. What else? Prevalence, which means mastery, okay? Or I think those are pretty much the main buckets if I had to simplify. There's another one in there, but it really blends in with fitness. So that's what it comes down to. Those are the actual outcomes people are buying. If a man's riding in a red Ferrari, do you really think he cares about the alloy and the whatever? He cares about the social status, because that social status will also show that he's sending off a wealth signal. Wealth signal meaning he has excess resources to waste on a piece of metal that moves, okay? $250,000 worth of metal that he could waste, meaning he has excess resources to provide for a mate. He attracts the mate he wants, okay? And also people want progeny. Okay, that was technically fitness of genes. So I kind of merged health and fitness of genes all in one. That was the other one I was missing there. And basically, he's buying the red Ferrari, not because of its red color and how fast it goes. He's buying it because he wants the social status to send out a wealth signal, which is going to attract the mate. And then with that mate, he can have potential progeny or kids to continue his genetics. That's genetic fitness he's buying by buying the Ferrari. He's not buying the Ferrari. So when I'm selling you a Ferrari, I'm going to show you, the man with the woman in this case, in the traditional sense. I understand there's non-binary and everything now, but I mean, in the commercials, you'll see a man, seeking a woman, and then a red Ferrari pops up and then the woman's more convinced to go with the man. Or you'll see stories about how the man went from rags to riches, how he went from a Honda to a Ferrari, for example. And when he got the Ferrari, his life changed. Everybody treated him like a king. That's social status signaling. Okay, so understanding that's the outcome that people want: wealth, social status, fitness of genes or actual health fitness, and mastery. You need to tap into what are they getting. That's what they're buying. Which bucket do I want to focus on? For my audience, you guys want to be masters for the most part. You love prevalence. You want to self-actualize. You want to become your best self. So I'm selling you the idea that you will become a master. I'm going to give you the how-to. I'm going to give you the step-by-step. Remember those 4 personality types. I'm going to give you the blueprint, the step-by-step, and the action takers, so you can get hands-on. I'm going to give you the step-by-step process so you can get hands-on with music production. And if you ever get stuck, there's a community on Discord that can help you. And I'm going to show you how stuff works and why stuff works. Those are the 4 personality types we talked about before. Okay, BANK for those who may have skipped the first videos. So what we need to understand is our audience. Now, this comes over time. It always evolves. Our audience usually shifts depending on how we're growing. So in the beginning, your audience is going to be different than when you're 1 million subscribers in. For example, we have 1.12 million subscribers at this time of recording this. Now, the way I acted when I had 20,000 subscribers and the way I acted when I had 1,000 was way different than the way I act now, because the audience, their expectations have changed. Okay, so without boring you to tears about my business model, you're going to have expectations that your audience expects from you. Okay, so just simply going into analytics after you've created something. You can't understand a market if you haven't created anything to understand what the market is looking for. Okay, so firstly, to get data, you have to do stuff so that you have enough data. So now I know my audience appears mainly around noon Eastern time, GMT -5. And here's what they actually watch on YouTube. I might think they watch tutorials all day. They're really watching, colors, performances, funniest rapper moments. They're not looking up music production stuff all day long. And so I have to figure out how to tap into the culture, but also bring it back to music production tutorials. And this is what I would study in this case if it were YouTube. Understanding your customer comes down to understanding what are their habits every day, what are their routines, but ultimately understanding what is their desired outcome. That supersedes their daily routine, okay? Their desired outcome, because the daily routine can change. Okay, so I know my audience. India is a growing market. They have billions of people over in India who are now getting access to the internet, and they love music. They want to create music, and they respect teachers. India is a growing market for me. I thought it was going to be Australia or the UK, but it turns out the US is only 30% of the watching audience on YouTube anyhow. 70% is worldwide. I'm missing 70% of people I could help because I was so focused on English-speaking American audiences What if I translated my stuff into Indian? Because now they can understand my tutorials even if they don't understand English. So in this case, I would get a dubbing service to dub my audio over into their language, Hindi, I believe. Okay, so that's understanding your customers. Okay, these people want to watch my stuff worldwide. South Africa was another big market that I thought, because they always leave comments, but they're actually lower than Germany. I didn't know we had a huge Germany audience. Okay, so in this case, I need to translate for Hindi, for German. Some European countries speak English, so sometimes you don't always need to translate and auto dub content. In South Africa, in this case, and understand what language do they speak. Is it English? Is it French? Is it, what language do they speak? And so now I know I have a younger audience. So now when I'm telling stories, trying to tell relatable stories, if I tell stuff about my 30s, half my audience won't understand until they're 30. So I need to tell stories from when I was 18, because most of my audience is 18 plus in this case. So I'll tell stories from back when I was 18 and a little younger, rather than telling them stories from when I'm 33 or turning 33. Okay. And a lot of my videos don't have subtitles in that case. So this is just YouTube data. I'm showing you this because this is the art of understanding your customer. Now, if you have no data, meaning you have nothing, you have no services, no customer list, no products, no communication with potential customers. If you have none of that, you have to start from scratch. And starting from scratch can be tedious, but it's the work that you have to do in order to create the right product or the right service. There's a lot of people who create random products and random services, and they don't serve anybody. The market's like two people. There's something in business called TAM, or total addressable market. And this is how many people care about your product or service. So let's talk about music, for example. The reason music can go around the world and the reason it has millions and millions and millions of followers is because most people enjoy music and the experience of music. So the total addressable market is huge. Now, if we narrow it down to genre, hip hop, for example, it's still a big genre, but it's smaller than all of music. Okay, so we're chiseling it down to hip hop. Now, if I say underground hip hop, we're making it really small. Maybe 200,000 or 2 million people around the world actually listen to underground hip hop, versus the greater world listens to mainstream hip hop for the most part. And then the bigger world listens to all types of music. So you can see how things narrow down over time. And the one thing you need to understand is that when you're doing market research, you need to address the total addressable market. You can make the best product for 10 people around the world and only sell to those 10 people. It's hard to scale that. Okay, it depends. You would have to sell your stuff at really high prices in order to justify the amount of work put into that product, only serving 10 people around the world. So the goal is serve a market. Now, the rule of venture capitalists is the markets need to be about 20 billion in revenue, because if they're 20 billion market cap, then they figure they take 5% of the market, they have $1 billion right there. Okay, $1 billion company. They call it a unicorn. So you can take that same philosophy. If you don't want to serve the music community, you're in a different niche, you could say, okay, and I don't even want to use the word niche. Let's just say market, you're in a different market. Ask, does that market transact at least $20 billion of market cap? If not, the growth opportunities here might not be there. Okay, so it depends. It depends on your industry. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the tactics. So on Reddit, what you could do is follow subreddits. So in this case, I'm showing you my music production subreddits. I follow Trap. Here's a whole list, I think. Okay, so I follow Ableton, Ableton Live, Ableton Production, Ableton Rex, Akai Force, Akai MPC, Audio Engineering, Audio Plugins, blah, blah, blah. All of this is music production related subreddits. The reason I'm following all these subreddits is because I want to see what people are talking about right on my homepage. And what I'll do from here is not sort by best, but sort by hot conversations. And the criteria I gave my own team. And I took a person who literally knew nothing about this, and I trained my team, and they went from not being a social media expert to making posts that got millions of views. And I was like, how? It was blowing my mind how my system worked for somebody who doesn't even do this on a daily, like me, in the trenches. But I taught them a system that was getting us millions and millions of views on Facebook. It was insane. Okay, so it's a system. So what we can do is look for upvotes of 100 or comments of 50 or more. Okay, so that was my criteria. The updates have to be 100 or more, or the comments need to be 50 or more. That was it. That was the only thing. And they would go through and process all of the information. So a lot of this is going to be very mainstream where my specific, target market doesn't care, about a lot of this stuff. Like Olivia Rodrigo is actually a rock star we've needed in a Galvanizing Guts tour. My audience wouldn't care about that. So this is where you need to understand your audience's differences. And this is what you'll learn over time. Broad topics are very hard to compete for unless you're trend based. Whereas niche topics, you can go deeper with concepts more so. Okay, so let's scroll down. Okay. So this is a meme. So what I would do in this case, it doesn't meet my criteria. It's not 100 upvotes and it's not 50 comments. So it's not too much discussion around it. But it says, legitimately the greatest thing I've ever spent my money on. It's a meme about Goodizer, Sound Goodizer. So here's something of interest. It's 97. It's not quite 100, but it's getting there. Extremely cursed solution for bad sound on distorted guitars. So I would take this topic and flip it for my own content. I would talk about distorted guitars and bad tone, or why my guitars never sound right. You tap into the problem areas that people have around this specific thing. And if you want to learn more, just read the comments, read the posts, read the comments. You'll learn so much more about people's real frustrations from Reddit because they feel more anonymous in this forum approach and they give their true perspective for the most part. A lot of it is bots and AI and made up stories. But as far as like music production, I found that this is real stuff when it comes to Reddit. Now, that's this criteria. But again, it's problem solving. So now we can go to different websites. We need to look up the actual search volume. So it's cool to learn about people's problems and learn how to solve those problems because that's what a business is. You're solving a problem and taking people from where they are to their desired outcomes. That's what the business is for, or the product or service. Now we need to verify that what we just saw is actually important. So let's look up some keywords. Okay, now that we've opened the post, what we can do now is look for keywords that repeat over time. So for example, extremely cursed solution for bad ground on distorted guitars. So they're actually talking about the buzz that comes from plugging in a guitar. At first, I thought they were talking about the tone. So I read it a little too quickly, but the bad ground on distorted guitars. So it says, just hear me out, you're in a home. So now I'm just gonna skim and look for keywords, home studio. What you could do with this is make a list of keywords on Google Docs, for example, home studio, distorted guitars. Even if I didn't know much about this market, there's certain keywords that happen in almost every sentence. Home studio, distorted guitars, guitar, DI, meaning direct input. And then straight into the word interface, amp, simulator or amp simulator, gain, metal. Let's see what else here. Guitar again. So buzz. So I'm literally just speed reading. Ground lift, DI. Okay, output, jack, I should say. Soldered. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so those are key words, things that you don't find in every sentence. Okay, those are keywords we can now take, apply it to a document, and you could actually copy and paste this and go to what's called a word counter. This is a little old school. I would use AI to do this more so now, but you can go to word counters. I believe this is free. You could just paste it, and it will count how many words pop up over time. Now, what you normally do is copy everybody's comment. So I would hit Control A, copy the entire thing. Now it's going to paste a bunch of stuff that's irrelevant too, like the Reddit HTML. But let's see how many words we get here. So now it's going to show us. Okay, so now it says share. Okay, so some of these words aren't relevant. Share, ago, that's how many minutes ago or hours ago. Level, reply. Those are the Reddit words. User, avatar. So guitar was used 29 times in this case. So maybe it's important if it's repeated that many times. Now that's obvious. Let's go to the 2-time keywords. Also, it looks like you can delete these so that it frees up space. So let's do that. Okay, so again, I would use AI to do this more so. You could use Harpa AI, ChatGPT. There's many things you could use to analyze this. Okay, so a lot of these, again, are Reddit terms. But we have the words guitar, ground, DI, touching. That, I don't know what that means. All, probably not going to be their terminology. Foot, members. Okay, so bad. So you can use this in your language. Buzz, grounding. Okay, so my head's probably in the way. But in short, we're getting a list of keywords we can use to either do more research or use this in our communication as we're talking about the thing we're trying to solve for. And this is the deep research you guys have to do because we have to change the way we communicate. Again, when you're building a new product or service, you want to demonstrate how your product is going to take somebody from where they are to a desired outcome. And they need to increase, they need to see the value within what you're offering. And we could do that by communicating how it solves all those keywords that we just looked up. Okay. So, oh, socks was a keyword, ironically. Okay. So nextly, we're going to look up something on here. Let's look up distorted guitars instead of, now this is a broader market. So this is not a specific problem. This is the broader total addressable market. We're trying to figure out how big is this market for the most part. So on vidIQ, they have a YouTube keyword tool that I found to be the best one out of all the keyword tools out there. So I looked up distorted guitar, very low search volume. I'm actually shocked how low this is. Funny enough, guitar brings in more traffic than distorted guitar, and electric guitar brings in more traffic than distorted guitar. Okay, so that's shocking how low that is actually. So let's look up a guitar. So on YouTube, at least, it says that about 600,000 searches are made for guitar, but the competition is extremely high, meaning there's probably thousands of channels on YouTube just dedicating to guitar videos. Like my guitar does this, guitar cover, guitar whatever. So even though there's 600,000 views coming in on YouTube as far as traffic, you're competing against a lot of people to get those views. So really, everybody can get an even amount of views, but it's only a little bit if you fight for that guitar. So you might ask, okay, where's the bigger market? Why is guitar so low? So then we can go look at these videos and see what are some other keywords people use. Okay, guitar, learn guitar, play guitar, electric guitar. Let's see here. How guitars takes pictures of used guitars. Okay. 21, maybe we have to put in how many strings are on the guitar. Guitar fails. Okay, let's try a guitar cover. So again, guitar cover is less. So I'm trying to find where's the million searches? Where's the 2 million searches? We're getting closer, but we're trying to find the godfather metaphorically, or the kingpin of this keyword here. So let's keep typing in guitar. Music might be very broad. So guitar music is even low. So we could type in different types of guitars. Acoustic guitar, 100,000. Okay, electric guitar. Now, this program will also give you related keywords. So if you ever find other keywords that are driving more traffic, you would look to the right over here to figure that out. So we could rank them via search volume here. So guitar is bringing in the most. So let's click on guitar. And it gives you subcategories as well. Guitar tabs. So in this case, people search guitar, but they're searching what are called longer tail keywords. In this case, it's not really a long tail. It's a short tail keyword, but it's more than just guitar. It's guitar cover, guitar lessons for beginners, guitar tabs, guitar type beat, guitar backing track. Now these together bring in, let's see, 500,000, million, about 2 million views just on these 5 keywords alone. So you would ask, if you're trying to tap into the guitar market, how can you cover all of these keywords and topics to get a percentage of that traffic? In this case, 2 million views in this case. And that's how you do your research, is you keep digging deeper and deeper. Let's type in a new industry I don't even know anything about. Knitting. Okay, knitting for beginners. Okay, so this says knitting brings in 90,000. So you would think the keyword brings in the majority, which it's looking like knitting. Okay, maybe crafts, arts and crafts. Okay, arts and crafts, very low. I'm actually surprised how low that is. Arts and crafts is a very low search term on YouTube. Let's try crafts for kids. I'm sure this is a big market, a very small market. So what you do in market research is you have a hypothesis. You go out into the market research. You realize that, whoa, this market's way smaller than I thought. I'm actually shocked how small these markets are. Let's go back to knitting. So at this point, we need other keywords around knitting. Okay, so here's where I would use something like Google Keyword Planner to help me understand the market of knitting, for example. So let's go here. Let's go to the Keyword Planner, discover new keywords, and let's type in knitting. So we're just looking for related keywords, not the actual numbers here. So chunky yarn. I didn't even think to type in yarn. Okay, chunky yarn, knitting machine. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's type in chunky yarn. Now, some of these searches may be more Google-based than YouTube-based. Maybe people aren't going on YouTube to see about chunky yarn. They're probably going on Google because they want to buy the supply, as opposed to going on YouTube to see somebody else mess with it. So in this case, this market might be more of a Google market than it is a YouTube market. And this is the art of market research. Where is your market? For example, we just found this has a bigger market on Google than it does YouTube. And then what are their habits? What do they value? This is what we're trying to figure out. So now we can find different keywords: chunky yarn, knitting machine, crochet kits, centro knitting, style craft, chunky scarf. I didn't even think of these words. Okay, so now you can go back to your keyword tools and see if you're trying to start with your YouTube to drive traffic, how much traffic comes from these actual keywords. And here's where you can get into where the traffic derives from. All right, so that is partial keyword research. Now I'm going to switch it back to something more relatable, which is not knitting. Okay, there's also something called Ahrefs YouTube keyword tool you can use. It's a completely free tool. So let's type in knitting just for this example. Let's find keywords. I think you have to verify you're a human, and then it will pull up a list of keywords. Now the traffic source, when you compare it to Google, it doesn't make sense. So I'm not looking at the traffic source, but more so the keyword list. Knitting for beginners, knitting, Fruity Knitting Podcast is a podcast. Loom Knitting. Now you can find, Fruity Knitting Podcast. Now you can find the actual influencers or businesses or brands that are centering around this keyword or the lifestyle or the habit or whatever it is. So let's look this up. Fruity Knitting Podcast. Okay, Fruity Knitting. So you can even scrape their website for keywords. You can go here and you could ask, for example, Harper AI. Sometimes this thing works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if it works today. Find the most common keywords. I think some websites can block this thing from working. Not this thing, but like a crawling bot or whatever it's called. So this may or may not work. Sometimes it glitches every now and again. It looks like it's glitching. That's probably why. Okay, so it's just glitching. But basically, you can have AI study a page, a web page, and find all the keywords. Or you could do the old-fashioned way. Control A, go to a word counter. Control V, paste, and find all the keywords. Knitting, top keyword, fruity. Okay, and then knit, some other words. So that way you can quickly find what you're looking for and not go through it all. So you can see they have episodes, guest tutorials. They have a Patreon, and a very simple kind of archaic blog website. Not much imagery going on, just a lot of text. So now I know how to communicate with this audience. It's very bland, safe, squared images, rectangle, very linear and very cut dry, not super creative, as far as their website goes. And that's the culture because they're a podcast, which represents the value system of a community. Loom knitting, and then you get into the other forms of knitting. I know we're focusing on knitting, but this is how deep you have to go with your customer research. So now you go to Instagram and you type in Fruity Knitting Podcast. Let's see if they have an Instagram. And then you would go, who do they follow? They have 100,000 followers on YouTube pretty much. Let's see if they have an Instagram. And you have to ask, go to their Instagram and figure out who people are following. What's the commonality of people they follow? So for example, let's see the storytelling that they use on their YouTube. Let's see. So they're not frequent. That's one thing. And it looks like they do like collab type stuff where they bring in a friend and they probably knit things together. I'm just guessing. Okay. So the whole culture. Let's see their top videos. All right, so top videos. Let's see. They probably have shorts. If they're making shorts, they probably have popular shorts. Okay, so now you can see their short form. I would start with short form first because short form are the highlights of what people value. And then you can move into the long form. But just quickly looking at the shorts, you can see quickly what people value. Okay, so it says, I knitted a lace wedding shawl. Okay. Madeline employs a ghost knitting oversized sleeves. Okay, so these are the problem areas. Mistakes. Don't make this mistake. How anyone can connect with others. You can modify any design. Okay, so now I can go through and methodically find all those problem areas, what people value. They've done all the work for me. Now I can go in and figure out, a product or service that will solve those problems or figure out a product that can, enhance their experience currently. So that is how you do market research. I know it's tedious, but this is the stuff that people don't show you. But this is why we get greater results, is because we took time to understand our customer a lot more. If you guys are in the dating metaphor, think about it. If you knew more about the person you're pursuing, they would take it as you care more and they build more trust with you that way than somebody who doesn't even care where you grew up, what your family was like, what you enjoy. So you have to apply that to business as well. Get to know your audience, understand what they value, and then deliver on the things that they value. That's it. It's really that simple. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap this video here, but those are the tactics you can use. Oh, also Discord is another hidden gem. So I would recommend joining as many Discords as you can in your field. So for example, in music, I have all these Discords I'm in. I'm in the AI Discords and also in some business Discords. Okay, so I don't know why this thing's glitching here. Okay, so it's a little glitchy, probably because I have too many programs running. But we have, all the other Discords, and you could find the commonality of communication in each one of these discords. What do they talk about? What are their problem areas? What do you see people constantly needing help with? You know, do they live stream? What do they live stream? Go into live streams, watch what things they use on the live stream. You can go in and study these discords. The cool thing about Discord is it's like the more advanced Reddit, and it's more private. So you have to go out and find it. And it's a great arbitrage opportunity. Not a lot of people are talking about discords as far as finding market information and data. It is a science. It's very thought out and methodical, but that's the hard work you guys got to put in. I'll let you guys do the work rather than talking about it. But more websites real quick are BuzzFeed. You guys can look up BuzzFeed for more trendy topics and more like broader areas of focus. But we'll wrap this video here. But you guys have to go out and do the market research. Peace.